When you're asked to hang out but are kind of on the fence about it, sometimes it's best to just say, why not, and go along with it. Who knows, you might have fun, and if not, you can always just bail early. This is the main lesson imparted to us by the Pokemon world's resident philosopher, Wynaut. Unfortunately, its works are not so well received. As it turns out, most people don't like receiving life advice from a baby Pokemon, but it doesn't care if it's true or not. As such, Wynaut's academic career has been fraught with controversy and bans, and its rambunctious personal life has poured fuel on the fire of accusations against it. However, in spite of these distractions, it's always soldiered on with a grin on its face, entirely committed to the pursuit of truth regarding the optimal decision in hanging out etiquette. Even though most people can't handle said truth, today we will judge and jury as we examine the ponderings and life of Wynaut. So we ask, how enlightened was Wynaut actually? And in this video, we'll be going over these formats, I guess. Wynaut was so committed to spreading what it saw as the truth in its debut generation that it utilized its Shadow Tag ability to prevent any Pokemon from escaping its lengthy tirades. This was deemed uncompetitive as well as an infringement of personal space, and as such, Wynaut was not allowed in OU despite its non-existent stats. But it didn't shy away from trying the same tricks on the scariest Pokemon in the game. Groudon and Kyogre were already annoyed that Rayquaza had broken up their epic duel, and now they had to get preached to by this pipsqueak. Suffice to say, Wynaut received many a one-hit KO, accompanied by an angry insult for its efforts, but it never gave up. However, as much as the more benevolent rulers of the tiers, the Laddie twins, supported Wynaut's right to do what it thought it was right, even the Laddie twins couldn't bear it when Wynaut faced off against another Wynaut, with both holding leftovers, as they would eventually run each other out of PP, and thanks to advances struggle mechanics, they would not be able to out-damage each other's leftovers, thus not being able to KO each other, and the battle would quite literally never end. The only way out was for one of the Wynauts to string together something comically absurd like 11 to 34 consecutive critical hits, depending on damage rolls, which could technically happen, but then again so could spontaneous combustion, a topic which Wynaut had also argued with the Blaziken line. Anyway, long story short, Wynaut is not allowed to use leftovers in Gen 3 Ubers, making it and Wobbuffet more restricted than Pokemon like Rayquaza, who knew that being the morality police would make one unpopular. The 4th generation brought a new batch of Pokemon for Wynaut to badger with its ideals. Infernape, Lucario, and friends gave it an honest try, but eventually they too found themselves weary and uncomfortable with the constant badgering and sent Wynaut back upstairs to annoy Groudon and Kyogre once more, as well as newcomers Dialga and Palkia. At least the new struggle mechanics meant that Wynaut could hold leftovers without prolonging the battle until the end of time, which the Ubers appreciated since it meant Wynaut and Wobbuffet would no longer be more restricted than them. However, it preferred Custap Berry, so that after it bounced back a hit like Garchomp Outrage, it would go first on the next turn and Destiny Bond the Pokemon trying to take it out. The 4th generation also brought to life the tier of Little Cup, where level 5 baby Pokemon duked it out, and Wynaut, being a baby, was allowed in it with them. Since it was both an Uber and a Little Cup Pokemon, this meant it had the distinction of being both in the highest and lowest tier at the same time. Banned in OU, UU, and NU, banished to the Uber realm like the Renegade Giratina, but no, sure, Little Cup is just fine. What could go wrong with putting a Uber in it? In seriousness, its counter coat combination reliably took out at least one opposing Pokemon, which was especially useful against key Pokemon like Munchlax or Elekid, and Encore prevented setup from something like Dragon Dance Dratini. In even more seriousness, Wynaut was tolerated in the tier because it recognized that its ideas were unlikely to be understood by others of its age, as it was born in the wrong generation, and it didn't attempt to preach to Chimchar playing in the sandbox. It reserved its sermons for the likes of the big man in the sky, Rayquaza, whom Wynaut was on equal footing with, just like it was with Chimchar, at least in the eyes of the tiering rung. This brings us to a famous philosophical dilemma. If Wynaut is equal with Rayquaza, and Wynaut is also equal with Chimchar, does that mean Rayquaza is equal with Chimchar and vice versa? Well, let me tell you, researchers are looking into it, and we will get back to you on it like probably never. Alright, next gen. Gen 5's team preview was a major blow to the Shadow Tag strategy, which didn't exactly need Surprise to function, but sure was a lot better with it. It was theorized that Shadow Tag Pokemon wouldn't be overpowered anymore, especially with the significant Encore nerf, with it only lasting 3 turns. Plus, after many meetings with PR, Pokemon Resources, about harassment, Wynaut learned his lesson and decided to keep a respectful distance, only preaching to those who wanted to hear it. Unfortunately, it looked like style would prevail over substance, as Gothitelle gained main shadow tag itself and establish a niche in OU. As a result, Wynaut was left to its small niche in Little Cup, improved significantly by the addition of Eviolite, as well as a minuscule one in NU. It was notable for finally being able to be used in a non-Ubers or Little Cup singles tier, but it was usually worse than Gotharita. Eventually, Gothatel's sultry antics got shadow tag banned from OU as a whole, and no one was eager for any repeat experiences with Gotharita or Wobbuffet, but Wynaut didn't get to benefit from this and hang out in Ubers again. On account of a technicality, it had gained an alternate ability, which is telepathy from the dream world. The shadow tag ban didn't trickle down to the lower tiers either, so Wynaut was once again in the subject of a tiering anomaly. It was fine with shadow tag in Ubers, UU, RU, NU, and Little Cup, but not in OU. But it didn't sweat this too much though, as it was too busy trying to beam its philosophical musings into other Pokemon's heads with telepathy, though it was tough to see if anyone noticed. Gen 6 was just like Gen 5. Shadow Tag was allowed and then Gothitelle ruined it for everyone and got it banned, but Wynaut was still allowed in OU thanks to telepathy and was good to go with Shadow Tag in every other tier. It no longer had a niche in the above Little Cup tiers, even with the new lowest tier in PU, but it was still quite a good Little Cup Pokemon, making great use of the new Berry Juice. Now it did experience a bit of a crisis as it was no longer surrounded by adult Pokemon capable of receiving its messages, but it was left with just babies who were more focused on nap time after an exhausting day playing in the sandbox than the moral implications of their actions. It was at this point that Wynaut, like any philosopher worth their salt, began to question itself. Gen 7 was basically identical to Gen 6 for Wynaut. Shadow Tag was banned, Wynaut had telepathy, so it wasn't Uber by default, and it was relegated to Little Cup where it was still quite good, employing use of Tickle. Yes, that's right, Tickle. This made it easier for its teammate Poniard to pull off a successful pursuit trap, but more importantly, it was a sign that Wynaut had come to find meaning in where it currently was, rather than where it thought it and everyone else should be. It just wanted to focus on having a good time, and decided to fully embrace its playful side. It also took it upon itself to be a mentor of all newly born Pokemon, just leaving the daycare, and thrust into the limelight of Little Cup. This brings us to another ethical issue. Is Little Cup battling the equivalent of being a child actor? Well, Wynaut will find out once it gets a little older. For now, it's just enjoying itself. Gen 8 came around and Wynaut, a little older, finds itself eschewing its Tickle days in order to think about who's really important to it. Thus, it connects with even its opponents via Destiny Bond. It further showed its support for those it cared for via Encore, allowing Pokemon like Quiver Dance Cutiefly and Dragon Dance Onyx to set up. Sword and Shield's Wynaut is the most mature and contemplative yet. Perhaps it will soon blossom into the next great, fully realized philosopher. And that's it. So how finna woke was Wynaut actually? Well, philosophically, it was hella finna woke. Competitively, it's weird. It's obviously 100% worse than Wobbuffet, but it was originally banned more on the principle that Shadow Tag is a completely absurd ability that goes against the very basis of singles competitive Pokemon, which is switching. With Team Preview and the Encore nerf, the ridiculousness of Shadow Tag was nerfed to where Wynaut could be considered a normal Pokemon and not that bizarre anomaly that managed to be both Little Cup and Uber simultaneously. Also, for the sake of historical accuracy, in real time, the Gen 6 Shadow Tag ban took place before the Gen 5 ban, by the way. Overall, Wynaut is a unique case in competitive Pokemon history, and now we're off to contemplate that Wynaut equals Rayquaza equals Chimchar dilemma. Thanks for watching, everyone, and as always, if you liked the video and you want to see more, be sure to subscribe to False Gaming, because that is who I am. In the comments, I don't know, just put whatever. And follow my crew on these social media platforms, and that's all I got. See you next time, everyone.